nutritional health coach from Sportsite. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're hanging in there. In this day and age, I'm sure you all are starting to realize that being healthy and having a strong immune system is really important. We're starting to learn that those hardest hit by the coronavirus are those that are immune compromised, have respiratory illnesses, diabetes, cancer. So last week I talked about how to strengthen your immune system. This week I'm going to talk about foods that can actually weaken your immune system. There are many foods that can weaken your immune system, and the list is actually really long. However, I decided that I would focus on the one I believe is the most important and most dangerous food in our diet that is the culprit when it comes to weakening our immune system. Can any of you guess which food that is? If you guessed sugar, you're correct. Sugar is highly addictive and toxic to our bodies in many ways, and there are a number of health issues that are related to a high sugar diet. Those include headaches, brain fog, migraines, obesity, diabetes, inflammation in the form of aches, joint aches and pains, heart disease. You're at a higher risk for heart disease and stroke, liver disease, and then finally cancer. Cancer loves sugar, it feeds on it. So sugar comes in many forms, and don't have time to go over all the different forms of sugar. I'll hit on a few of them that are important. And it can be hidden in many of our foods as well. So it's really important to read your labels. How much sugar should we take in a day then? The American Heart Association says for women it's 6 teaspoons and for men it's 9 teaspoons. The average American consumes 24 teaspoons of sugar a day. And that's from the National Cancer Institute. So I wanted to give you an example of some common foods and how much sugar is found in them. And keep in mind that 1 teaspoon of sugar equals 4 grams. So 1 cup of tomato sauce is 11 grams of sugar. A candy bar has 24 grams of sugar. Energy drinks and sports drinks, anywhere from 27 to 52 grams of sugar. A cup of vanilla ice cream, and that's just 1 scoop, is 24 grams of sugar. Most people have 2, and that's, you're maxing out on your sugar intake for the day just with that 1 ice cream. The innocent blueberry muffin has 37 grams of sugar. A medium chai latte, 42 grams, and then the worst offender, a 24-ounce bottle of soda has 72 grams of sugar. That's just incredible. So I wanted to go over some of the commonly eaten foods and their sugar contents. Like I mentioned earlier, tomato sauce usually has 11 grams of sugar, and this is one of my favorite. Rao's only has 5 grams of sugar per serving. And like I mentioned earlier, the sports drinks are usually really high. I believe this one has 26 grams of sugar. And a good alternative is coconut water. It has plenty of electrolytes and potassium. It's lower in sugar and has a bunch of other nutrients. So a much better choice for people who need replenishment when exercising or doing sports activities. I know I used to live by granola bars when I was on the road working, and most of them are like candy bars. They're glorified candy bars really, but I like Kind because it's mostly nuts and is only 5 grams of sugar. Larabar is pretty decent, pretty clean, but I believe it's 15 grams of sugar in this one, and I think that's quite high for a granola bar. And then as far as sugar substitutes, I recommend using honey. There's a lot of nutrients in honey. It's great for allergies as well, especially during the spring. I usually take honey all winter long and helps me deal with my allergies. I use it for cooking and baking. Maple syrup is also a good alternative when baking. So I wanted to touch on some of the other forms of sugar that are worth mentioning. Fruit is a healthy snack, don't get me wrong, but only in moderation, and be mindful of your choices. I always recommend to my clients that they stick to berries, like blueberries, strawberries, and because they have the least amount of sugar, and green apples, they're a great to-go snack. Grain-based foods like cakes, pasta, breads, cookies, all of those get converted to sugar. Alcohol is another one. You know, people overdo on the alcohol, especially during these trying times. Try to limit it because it is very toxic, and again, most of it gets converted to sugar. And then as far as what to use to sweeten certain foods, for example, in my smoothies, I'll use dates because you'll get some fiber along with the sweetness, and I like to use honey to sweeten other foods. When you're baking, I like to cut the sugar in half so I can reduce my sugar content that way. It's, all the recipes I see online are really heavy on the sugar quantities, so it's fine if you just cut it in half and you'll get used to the taste. So how about you think of some ways that you can reduce the amount of sugar you take in every day? Are there certain swaps you could make? For example, can you cut out soda and drink water instead? Or any fruit juices that are really high in sugar? What about not sweetening your coffee? Or instead of reaching for something sweet to snack on, how about a handful of nuts? They'll keep you full longer and have lots of health benefits, nutrients and minerals. Are you eating a nutritious breakfast? Many studies show that if you have a breakfast with protein in the morning, you'll be less apt to reach for a sweet snack in the afternoon. It'll help you avoid that afternoon crash. Are you drinking plenty of water? You know, most people need to have 8 cups of water a day, depending on your activity. And then the most importantly, are you getting enough sleep? Because not having enough sleep affects how hungry you are the next day. I know when I don't sleep well the next day, I'm always reaching for food and never satiated. And it's because your body needs rest and energy, and so typically when you're overtired, you're reaching for comfort foods that are starchy or sweet. So other strategies to help reduce the amount of sugar in your diet is reading labels, like I mentioned earlier, and maybe keep a journal and try to track how much you're taking in every day. Making homemade meals, that's a great way to control your sugar intake because you're in charge of the ingredients, and you know, you can experiment and find ways to make things taste delicious with other seasoning instead of using sugar. So what do you think? Can you try cutting out sugar for a week? You'll be amazed at how much better you'll feel. You'll have more energy, you'll have more clarity in your mind. If you did it for 2 or 3 weeks, you might start to lose that belly fat around the midsection. If you have arthritis, you might realize that you have less pain, and you did it for a month or so, you might be able to go off meds for diabetes or high blood pressure. You know, wouldn't that be amazing? So to wrap things up, what I've learned through my training and my experience is that our bodies are a well-oiled machine, and given half the chance with proper nourishment, rest, exercise, and stress reduction, we can heal ourselves by ourselves. Studies have shown that many chronic diseases can be reversed and even avoided with a healthy lifestyle and diet. I know I gave you a lot of information today, and what I think the best approach is just to take a few of my recommendations. You know, start out slow. Long-term success can be realized, but you need to give it about 2 months for habits to become automatic. So commit to your goals, write them down on a piece of paper, keep it simple, and you know, stick with it. You'll start to see improvement in other areas of your life, and it's a ripple effect. You'll be amazed how you'll start to feel better. You'll want more. You'll commit to more, and you'll see a lot of improvement in your health. Thanks again for tuning in. If you'd like to see some of my recipes, I have some great recipes for low sugar and other healthy recipes on my website. It's www.bellavitahealthwellness.com. I also talk about other services that I offer, and you can find that link under this video. Thank you.